So, just gonna check if everything is working. Okay, great. We are live. Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome to our live student case study. I'm just going to make sure everything is working and that we are live. So if you can hear me and see me, please let me know in the chat. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. So we have people from all over the world joining us today, and I'm really curious to know where you're all based in. So let me know in the comments. Um, I'm located in the beautiful Taunus region close to Frankfurt, so don't be shy to say hi in the comments and share where you are joining us from today. Also, feel free to ask any questions during this live session today in case also you don't know who I am. I'm Salome, a native German teacher, and I'm also the creator of the German Fluency Academy, where I help people go from having no knowledge of German or very basic knowledge of German to being confident and conversational in the language. And I help people who are relocating to Germany or who have already relocated go from, as I've mentioned, zero knowledge most of the time of German to becoming confident and conversational using my fluency method. And this allows them to navigate life in Germany, connect with locals, find better job opportunities, and ultimately really to feel at home. Like that's what I'm most passionate about, to help people really feel like they belong into their local community. And that's how I met Nadia. And I'll be chatting today with one of my students who is Nadia and who started learning German with us in the academy in August last year. And in just 5 months, Nadia gained confidence in her conversational skills and also passed the A2 exam, with speaking being her strongest area, which I'm really proud of. So we'll be diving into her journey. So don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat. That's exactly what we're here for. So, hallo Bagirat aus Indien. Hallo aus den Philippinen, Michael. Hallo, I see and hear you well. Thank you so much for the feedback. Hello, Erin aus Miami. Vielen Dank, Robin, für dein Feedback. Okay, sound and video, everything's working great. So, Nadia has relocated to Germany from South Africa. So if you also live in the German-speaking countries or you're planning to relocate and are looking for tips on how to really fast track your German learning and gain the confidence to finally have interactions in German, then you're in the right place. So my hope for today's conversation is really that it will inspire and motivate you to either start learning German or to get back on track if you've been feeling like you're in a slump. Yeah, so the goal really is to inspire you with a real story from someone just like you who has made great progress and now feels comfortable interacting in German. I know it's a huge challenge, but it's not impossible. And that's the key takeaway I want you to get from today's live interview. Learning German definitely makes such a huge difference in your quality of life in the German speaking country. And that's what I also want to showcase today with my student Nadia. So we'll be talking about Nadia's journey, why she's learning German, where she started, where she's at now, and most importantly, how she got there. And again, the main purpose of today's live student case study is to inspire as many of you as possible to start learning or to pick up some helpful tips along the way. And if you're just tuning in and you don't know who I am, I'm Salome, the host of the Speak Fluent German YouTube channel, where I share weekly lessons on practical German for beginner learners. I'm also the creator of the German Fluency Academy, an online course and community that will take you from your very first words all the way to having conversations with native speakers. Yeah. And again, this is how I met Nadia. And today we'll be talking about her experience with learning German. And we'll also share some helpful tips that you can apply for your own language study. So let's go ahead and add her to the stream so we can start and hear her story. Hallo Ishola, Grüße aus Nigeria. Hallo Dibashi, schön, dass ihr alle dabei seid. So Welcome, Nadia. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem
Hallo again.
Live-Interview. I'm so excited to chat with you today. So, obviously, I know who you are and why you're learning German, but for those who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Nadia. I came from South Africa and we relocated because my husband was transferred for work. And yeah, I started learning German also because I also want to work.
That's a huge motivation, I guess, for so many people who relocate to Germany and are starting from scratch to really get better opportunities, right?
Mhm.
And I remember very clearly our first discovery call or the first time we met. That was last year, actually, in the beginning of August. I'm
Oh,
not quite sure if you still remember,
yes.
but can you tell us a bit about where you were at in your journey at that time?
Oh, well, it was very difficult, very, with no knowledge of German and
Mm,
it was just hard to communicate with people and to make friends and just interact and have like a if I can say normal life and just to integrate was very difficult. Very, very difficult
yeah,
because
I get that
because
a lot.
mostly if you don't speak German, it's difficult to interact with the native speakers and because not everyone speaks English.
Yeah, especially when you're living a little bit outside of bigger cities, right? Right? Like if you're in Berlin city center or like Frankfurt city center, you might get by with English or living in that bubble. But as soon as you're more on like the suburb areas, it can start to be very difficult to interact in English.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was especially with our neighbors, because most
Hmm.
of our neighbors is elderly people, and
Hmm.
that's what I've picked up. That most of the elderly people, it's difficult for them to speak English. So when you don't speak German, they try to avoid you and not make
Oh.
conversation with you. So because their English is also not good.
Yeah, that's true. So they might be also a bit like shy or very anxious about like using English. So which is like at the end, like for the people who are trying to integrate, it's a bit of a shame, right, to not being able to communicate with your neighbors because those are the
Mhm,
people you
mhm.
might see on a day-to-day basis, and you would really love to get to know them better and have a conversation. So I can totally imagine a lot of people are resonating with what you're saying right now because they feel like they're in the same position. What kind of challenges were you facing when you first started with like actually learning German in the very beginning?
The most difficult for me was going to the shops and having to
Hmm.
buy products and you do not know the names of the products in German and like buying something and you come home and you're like, oh, this is not the right product. Or going
Oh,
to the shops and having to ask someone for assistance. That was the
hmm,
most difficult for me.
right. And how did you went about that in the very beginning? Like you just use Google Translate or how did
Google
you navigate that?
Translate, yeah, Google Translate mostly, Google Translate. But also when you Google Translate, sometimes it's not the correct word, or it might be like a Google Translate don't always give you the correct sentence.
Hmm.
And if you Google Translate and you speak to a native speaker, they might look at you like, oh, okay,
That
because it might not be the correct translation.
right, right. And it doesn't sound that natural.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm,
And
got it.
pronunciation is like to pronounce the words. I think that was the most difficult for me, the pronunciation of the words from English, and then you have to pronounce it in German, especially like big
Mhm.
words.
Yeah, no, those German is so famous for its compound nouns, and even if you look words up, right, you have these really long words, and then you just feel like, oh, where am I supposed to even start saying that word? Where does it end? What's the whole bunch in between? So that can be quite intimidating for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, got
Yeah.
it. And how do you feel now about using German in your day-to-day life? How has that changed from when you first started with us in the program?
I'm absolutely enjoying it. My first experience after I did pass my A2 in December, we
Hmm.
had the Christmas markets coming up. And I was really excited because we had a Christmas market with all our neighbors, and
Yeah,
everyone was
we have
so
a picture
excited.
of that. This one.
Yeah, we had a Christmas market with our neighbors, and I could communicate with, and everyone was really impressed. And everyone was speaking to me in German. So that was really, really, really good.
That's
And we also
amazing.
had, yeah, we also had family visiting from South Africa, and
Hmm.
we were visiting Munich and Berlin.
Right, right. We
So
have a picture here from that was Berlin, right?
that was Berlin, yeah. That was our first night in Berlin. And it was just amazing. Everyone looking at me and like, okay, we want this, we want this. What is this on the menu? Can you explain to me what this is on the menu? It was really, really good to communicate in German and yeah,
Yeah, and then
and
also navigate like the entire experience for your friends and family. That's
yeah,
really amazing. We have another picture here of the Munich, right? This was
that was
in
in
Munich.
Munich. That was in the Brauhaus, and this was really, really a good experience because it's totally German, and the waitress only spoke German. So this was a very, very good experience. And I had to explain the Wiener Schnitzel. I had to explain und Hähnchen und
Hähnchen.
ja, und the Eisbein. Yeah.
Oh,
So it was really, really good to explain to everybody.
right, right. So you were kind of like doing the translation, not only for the waiters to understand the order, but then also explaining to your friends
To
and
the
family what
family.
everything is and the
Yes.
items on the menu and everything. That must have been like a really cool feeling to be able to do that.
It was. It definitely was. It definitely. I really, really felt at home.
That's so amazing, and I'm pretty sure your friends and family were really impressed as well for you making such a huge progress in within such a short amount of time.
They were, especially my husband. And even now, still, wherever we go, he'll be like, no, 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 babe, you go in front and you speak. You speak.
That's good because you're kind of like put on the spot to practice more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So,
really amazing to have such a supportive environment as well. Like I think this is really, really important to have that support system as well and people pushing you forward and also encouraging you to speak more and to try.
mhm,
And these experiences are really proof that learning the language is not just about like grammar and memorizing vocabulary. It's
mhm,
really about
mhm,
making connections, like with your neighbors, as you've mentioned, or being able to navigate like this entire trip for your friends and family, which is
mhm.
absolutely amazing. I think you also went to the Zugspitze, right? You've mentioned to me that this
Yes,
was like kind
yes.
of the highlight for the
The
of the entire
highlight of
trip for you.
The highlight of the entire trip was Zugspitze and up on top of the mountain, and it was snowing madly. But when we came down, um, the skies were clear, 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 and blue. And then walking on the frozen lake, that was the most amazing experience.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really amazing, and you've done such a great job within that short amount of time. And for anyone who is just tuned in, I'm here actually with my student Nadia, who is originally from South Africa and is based in Germany now, close to Frankfurt. And she's sharing her story today on how she became confident and conversational to give you guys also the inspiration and the motivation to do the same. So she started more or less from scratch when we first met in August. And by December, she passed her A2 exam with speaking being her strongest skill out of all four. And if you also want to gain that confidence and feel more comfortable speaking German in your day-to-day life, the best way to get started is to head to speakfluentgerman.com/apply. I'll also put that down here where you can basically book a discovery call with us and see if it's the right fit for you and hopefully join us, so me, Nadia, and the entire community inside the program. So if this is sounding good and you want to find out more, then this is what you need to do. You'll go to speakfluentgerman.com/apply, and then we'll talk to you specifically to see if that is the right fit for you. So in December, Nadia, you went for the A2 exam and passed it, not only really well, but also speaking ended up being your strongest area. How did you feel passing the A2 exam and accomplishing such an important milestone? And also, why was it so important for you to take the test?
Well, I want to start working. Um, I'm currently a Hausfrau.
Hmm.
Um, so I really, really want to like and communicate, interact with my neighbors, interact with people around me, and start making friends. Because we when you have to like interact with other people, but my most important thing is to grow my German to start working. And I think
Hmm.
passing my A2 exam was the most biggest achievement for me. And
Yeah.
it gave me so much confidence to speak. But I couldn't have passed my German exam without the German Fluency Academy. And that helped me really. All the materials, all the exam materials, the lessons with you, like online. It feels like I'm in a class interacting with you. And it was really a big achievement for me, definitely. But I couldn't have done it without the German Fluency Academy.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm really happy and glad also to hear that you found so much value in the material, because sometimes people also think, oh, because it's a self-paced program, you might feel like you're isolated or you're doing everything just by yourself. But the way the community or the academy really is structured is that you're never alone. And
Yeah.
Nadia knows exactly what I'm talking about. You're never alone. I constantly check in with my students through the community platform. And especially when it comes to speaking, we have so many activities to help students really gain or start gaining that confidence in speaking, and you get individual feedback so you know exactly what to work on. And we've done that a lot with you, Nadia, as well, to really help you prepare for the speaking as well, and to help you know exactly like how to answer some of the questions. You've also sent me during that time a couple of pictures of your study session. So this was one of them. Can you explain to us what exactly you were doing there?
Yeah. So what basically is you have certain topics. So if you would speak about your Kinder, your kids,
Hmm.
or Beruf, your work, Wohnet, where you live. And so I basically made like a Sprache. Which language do you speak? Welche Sprache
Hmm.
sprechen Sie?
Hmm.
Then I would make like the word keyword. I would put the keyword and I would make a sentence, one or two sentences, and I would see what sentence maybe works for me. And I would put down how I would answer it. So, what worked for me is basically to write down, read it, speak it. And that made me more confident. And even sitting with my husband in the evenings, I would make flashcards, those flashcards, and but I would only give him flashcards with a word and with a question, but I have to answer him, and so that's how made me also get more confidence.
Yeah, that's such an amazing tip, and you've sent me so many of these flashcards to, double check if it's correct, if your answers are correct, and so that we could really fine tune that, and also give you the confidence to use these phrases and just feel more comfortable with it, with the speaking part as well. And I'm so glad to hear you have such a supportive husband, and also your son was all quizzing you sometimes, right? You've mentioned.
Yes, yes, that's correct. That's correct. But again, I would say I couldn't have done it because everything is step by step also in the material, the academy material that I've gotten from you, and
Hmm.
especially with the A2 exam video. That was very
Hmm.
helpful because you put out everything step by step in the material, what to do, how to go about it, what to expect from the exam. So that really really helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you found like that's super helpful. And that's also one thing I help students with, not only the A2 exam, but also the A1 exam or B1 exam. So all of those exams are broken down into a very step-by-step fashion. And I think what's also important is that the way we approach learning the German language is not necessarily putting the exam first, but actually becoming more comfortable with speaking first. I feel like a lot of people get it the other way around, so they are able to pass the exam or and do all of the textbook exercises or get like memorize all of the exam questions. But then in real life, when you ask them to say
Right.
something or have a conversation, they're completely frozen or don't know how to interact with people. And I think you've done a really good job with actually not only preparing for the exam, but actually also improving your skills because a lot of times that's not um, necessarily a given. And because we're also putting a lot of emphasis into like the confidence in speaking and really
Mhm.
truly building your skills and not just being able to pass an exam. I feel like that was also a huge confidence booster for you to be able to, navigate day-to-day life now completely or like more and more in German. How does it look like right now? Like if, when you're out and about or you see your neighbors, are they still scared to speak to you?
No, no, everybody speaks when they see me, everybody communicates with me in German. So, it's actually nice going outside. I actually can't wait to go outside just to speak to everybody and go to the shops. I can't wait to go. Like, I get really excited when I go to the shops, knowing that I can communicate with them in German and comfortable. And it really helps a lot. So,
Yeah. And also getting the right items now. Right.
yes,
So,
exactly. No,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel like that's such a huge part of like truly feeling at home that you're able to do these things for yourself and you don't have to rely on Google Translate all the time or someone to help you translate. That's a hu really huge part to feeling more independent and like you're not living in a tourist or expat bubble, but you actually belong into the community. So love that for you. And what I also really love is the way you manage to incorporate learning German into your daily life. So, as you probably already could tell from the flashcards, everybody, Nadia is a super organized student. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with that or struggling with finding the time to study specifically, especially as a parent or someone who's working full time and trying to navigate all of that. And my biggest advice really is to make it part of your daily routine, like, for example, blocking out a specific time and then also putting distractions away. And I know that the time and dedication was something you initially struggled with in the very beginning, but then really you were able to set out a proper routine for yourself. So, can you walk us through how you actually managed your study time, especially as a busy parent who's also juggling all of the other, day-to-day tasks?
Yeah, so usually what I used to do is I'll get up in the morning, make sure everybody's sorted out, and then I would put a set time. Come 12 o'clock, I would switch
Mhm.
everything off, my cell phone, everything. And I would say, this is now my time with my German. So I will get all my materials ready and I would just focus on my German without any interferences for about
Mhm.
an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah. No, that's a
It
really
is,
great tip.
yeah. Make sure that I have nobody, like, even if my phone rings, if it's not important, I won't take the call. I would just focus on learning German.
Yeah, no, that's such a important advice that you're giving there because I feel like nowadays with all of the notifications we have on our phone with all of the apps, it's so tempting to constantly just get distracted and like saying, "Oh no, actually this is me time. This is something I want to do for myself and this is really important to me, so I'm going to block out that time." And it doesn't have to be for hours and hours, like 1 to 2 hours, or even just 1 hour on a daily basis can take you so, so far. I feel like a lot of times people think they need to do 4 hour study sessions, and if it's not like 3 to 4 hours, they won't make any progress, which is absolutely not true. Like
Mhm.
actually breaking it down into smaller chunks, but then doing it on a consistent basis and also in a focused environment can get you actually really, really far. And you've done a great job with that. Um, and like also putting away your phone and not taking any calls. I was like, okay, that's like when you can really tell that somebody is serious about making progress.
I had
Yeah,
to, and what I would do is, your material is like everything is sorted so perfectly. I would say, okay, today, lesson one, and I would see how far I can get with lesson one. And
mhm,
the interaction is like, so you can't get distracted. The material like keeps you like, I told my husband and my son, I'm like, it feels like you're sitting face to face with Salome. It's not like you're having an online. It feels like it's a face to face interaction, and that also helped me a lot to stay focused. The
yeah, yeah.
material really helped me to a lot to stay focused.
I'm so glad to hear that because that's really the purpose of that. Like I've always put a lot of emphasis on making the learning experience really enjoyable because you really have to enjoy it and have fun during the process. Because otherwise you're not going to stick to it. Like I'm a language learner myself. I know how important it is to really enjoy what you're learning. And um, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And if you're just joining us, by the way, on this live stream, welcome. I'm here with my student Nadia, and Nadia's journey with learning German is truly inspiring. She's originally from South Africa, now lives near Frankfurt in Germany. And Nadia started learning German with us inside the German Fluency Academy last year in August as a complete beginner. And by December, she passed her A2 exam, with speaking being one of her strongest skills. And if you're looking to gain the confidence and speak German more comfortably in daily life, Nadia's story is a great example of what's possible. And if you want to see if the German Fluency Academy can help you achieve the same, head over to speakfluentgerman.com/apply, where you can book a call with us directly to see if that fits your goal and if this is something you would like to go to do. And right, so we've been talking so much about your skills, Nadia. Now we'll also dive into some questions in German, if that's okay for you.
Yes,
Ja,
we can.
bist du bereit?
Ja,
Los, los geht's.
los geht's.
Nadja, woher kommst du?
Ich komme aus Südafrika, und Südafrika ist in den Süden von Afrika.
Mhm. Und wo
Ähm,
wohnst du jetzt?
ja, ich wohne in Frankfurt mit meiner Familie, in einem kleinen Haus.
Sehr schön. Und wie gefällt es dir in Deutschland?
Ich liebe das Leben in Deutschland.
Das freut mich. Auch das kalte Wetter.
Ja, ich liebe das kalt.
Okay, sehr schön. Was machst du in deiner Freizeit?
In meiner Freizeit höre ich Musik, und liebe es zu backen.
Ich weiß, dass du Backen liebst. Du magst es, Schokomuffins zu machen, hast du mir mal erzählt. Schokomuffins ist deine Spezialität. Wie oft backst du?
Ich backe mindestens zweimal die Woche.
Oh, wow, okay. Das ist ziemlich cool. Und was genau backst du? Also Muffins oder
Äh,
Kuchen?
Ich backe und Schokoladekuchen, und, Lamingtons. Das ist ein südafrikanischer, Backen.
Mhm, ein südafrikanisches Gebäck, sehr schön.
Ja,
Das muss ich irgendwann mal probieren. Das möchte ich wirklich mal testen, wie das schmeckt. Das klingt auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr lecker.
ja, das ist sehr gut.
Gut. Gut. Und was sind deine Ziele dieses Jahr fürs Deutschlernen?
Mein Ziel ist es, bis Ende April, meine B1-Prüfung zu machen und mit der Arbeit zu beginnen.
Das ist ein tolles Ziel und ich bin mir sehr sicher, dass wir das gemeinsam erreichen werden. Mit deinem Fleiß, okay, und deiner harten Arbeit wird das kein Problem sein. Good. Thank you, Nadia, for sharing with us. That was really well done, and I'm so
Thank you.
excited for you to reach your goals this year. For anyone who didn't quite understand what she was saying, so Nadia set the goal for herself to complete B1 by April, and then also dive into job opportunities and start applying for jobs. And obviously, we'll be there every step along the way. This is also actually something that is included in the German Fluency Academy, the job application workshop, which really walks you through from like how to structure your application papers, like the cover letter and things like that, to also how to introducing you in a professional way, talk about your work experience. So we'll get into all of that, Nadia, by the time you've completed B1. We'll take it one step at a time.
So,
Um, all right. So, do you have any last tips for learning German? Anything that you would like to share?
well, if I can, I would really say sign up immediately. It's
Mhm.
really, really, really helpful. And especially if you want to get into a job, if you want to just sign up, get the material, and just stick to learning and don't be scared to talk. Just even if it's difficult to pronounce the words, try. If you're not going to try, you're not going to succeed. So, my mom always used to say, if at first you don't succeed, try, try, and try again.
That's such a great mindset. Like that's exactly what you need to do. And in the beginning, mistakes are super normal. Everybody goes through that. It's part of the learning journey. But that's also a lot of times what prevents people from even trying. And Nadia, you made a really good point there with saying, well, if you're not trying, you will not get to the next step.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
a lot of what we focus on is really also the mindset part. I always feel like it's half 50% is like actually doing the grammar, the vocabulary, the
mhm.
speaking practice, and then the other 50% is just in your head. It's just
True, true.
getting over that fear and really working that mindset.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely.
Okay, great, Nadia. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing
Thank
more
you.
about your experience with learning German, your wisdom, and sharing like how it went with preparing for the A2 exam. And hopefully,
Mhm,
your story has also inspired a lot of you guys out there to, start speaking regardless of, making mistakes. Just know it's part of the journey. It's super normal. Encourage other native speakers to give you feedback so that you can improve. That's really the first step to gaining more confidence in
mhm.
speaking. And if you would like help with that, you can go ahead to speakfluentgerman.com/apply to see if you qualify for a discovery call. And then I'll reach out to you and we'll discuss your goals to see if this is a good fit. In diesem Sinne, vielen Dank, Nadja, für deine Zeit und ich wünsche euch allen noch einen wunderschönen Abend. Bleibt fleißig und viel Erfolg weiterhin beim Deutschlernen. Macht's gut.
Bis bald.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.